You know that you are creators, yes? Or you would like to be. You are creators. In fact, as you are sifting through the variety that surrounds you, that we call contrast because it has broad ranges, some of it wanted, some of it not wanted, some of it really not wanted, some of it really wanted. As you sift through the variety of what surrounds you, you are focusing the larger part of you into an expanded, evolved version. So you are creating. Oftentimes, as you are here in these physical bodies, you don't even realize that that part of your creation is happening, because in your human body, most of you are only wanting to take score about what is already manifested. So you're willing to talk about the creation of a relationship or the creation of an empire or the creation of a physical condition. Sometimes you're willing to do that. But it is a rare one of you who understands the creation that is going on a vibrational level that precedes all manifestation. And that's the creation that we mostly want to talk about today. You are offering vibration because you are focusing. You can't not focus. And in every moment that you are focusing, whether you are reminiscing about the past, whether you are exploring something in your present, or whether you are speculating into the future, every time you focus, you establish a vibrational frequency that is creative in nature. Most of all, it's attractive in nature. And by that we mean you send out these vibrations that are being responded to by a universal manager that we are calling law of attraction. And law of attraction brings back to you, gives you constant feedback of that which you are emanating vibrationally. Now, oftentimes you're emanating stuff all over the place. You say, I want this, which is an emanation of a vibration, but then you offer an equal, proportionate, sometimes greater counter vibration that says, but it's not here, or I can't figure out how to do it. So you're offering vibration all over the place, and that's what we call creating by default. You're doing it because you can't help but do it, but you're not doing it deliberately. Deliberate creating is offering vibration deliberately, which means thinking on purpose, which means thinking and then having some way of measuring the thought. And that's what trips so many of you up, because since you've been so enthusiastic about the manifestations, but since the manifestations are post-manifestational indicators, since mostly you are doing your evaluating of how you're doing by looking at what you've already done, you're sort of behind the process. You get a sense of what we're talking about? If you are only examining what's manifested, then you are really living in the past. Even if it just manifested, you're really living in the past, because long, well, it doesn't have to be so long, but it often is. You've been putting these vibrations out there, and law of attraction has been assembling the cooperative components. But if you are using your eyes and ears and so on to explore how you're doing, it would be like driving your vehicle down the road and only looking in the rearview mirror. It's not a good idea. Oh, look, I ran over that, I ran over that, I ran over that, I ran over that. In other words, not our idea of deliberate creation. But if you become aware of vibration, if you will pay attention to the vibration that you are offering, and the only way that you can pay attention to vibration, because you can't see it yet, it hasn't manifested, is by feeling the vibrational frequency of it, and you do 100% of that through your emotions. Your emotions let you know how you're doing. As you are observing life, there are plenty of things that are happening today in your life that are not exactly as you want them to be. But if you could understand that in all of that living of life, you've been asking for improvement, even if you are only a one-celled organism, you've been asking for improvement. You're far more than that. You're genius, leading-edge creators. As you are asking for more, that asking has already actualized vibrationally. And if it had not, then negative emotion would not be possible. In other words, if you had not expanded beyond what you are allowing, you would never feel negative emotion. Or if you have expanded and you are allowing the expansion, you will feel positive emotion. But if you've expanded and you're not allowing the expansion, then you feel negative emotion. So a lot of times the negative emotion you feel feels like it's someone else's doing. They're doing that to me. Esther made a reservation at one of the places that they like to park their bus in the Boston vicinity, makes them months in advance and specifically requests specific places to be because they have a really big bus. It's long and it's tall and it wants 50 amps. They tried it once on 30 amps and it freaked out. In the night, all of the breakers went boom, 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 boom. They thought they were being assaulted by machine gun fire. And then 14 things never worked again. And while they have all been repaired, now they are back in the same place. And the woman says, we only have a 30 amp site for you. And Esther said, I want to hurt you. Well, it's a knee-jerk reaction. When someone hurts you, don't you want to hurt them back? And doesn't it feel like it's somebody else's fault? And Esther said, seriously, I would have never, ever, ever agreed to that because we've had experiences in this park with 30 amps. And the woman said, well, we record every phone call. And Esther said, that's good for me because I know that I requested with great specifics a 50 amp site. And so they dug up the recording. It was really interesting because in 14 different ways, Esther specifically acknowledged how important it was that they have 50 amps. But in one small, unheard by Esther sentence, the woman had said, sometimes we cannot guarantee because someone may get there before you do and take the power from your pole. Only she didn't say it in that much specific. She just said, well, I've got you on a 50 amp site and blah, 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 blah. And when Esther listened back to it, she could see how the woman was confirming her rightness with the same recording that Esther was confirming her rightness. How can we both know that we're right? Now, what we're getting at is, so something that should not have happened, happened, or should it have not happened, or should it have happened? In other words, as Esther listened back to the recording, she realized how many times she mentioned how important 50 amps were from her place of clearly knowing that she didn't want 30 amps. In other words, it's tricky, isn't it? In other words, the way it turned out and what Esther now knows about law of attraction, which she's been arguing with all day, but she knows that she is not the one exception in all of the universe, although she thinks that if anyone should be, it should be her. But Esther acknowledged because of the way it turned out, because the way things manifest, that's your proof, isn't it? The way things manifest is your proof of what's going on in your vibration. Oh, that's painful to hear. What's happening is proof. What's happening is an indication of my vibration. Abraham, give me a break. Didn't you hear the recording? We said we heard the universal recording. We heard the same recording that law of attraction heard. We heard your concern about a 30 amp site, which was far, far, far more vivid than your appreciation of a 50 amp site. Your concern about what you did not want was far more active in your vibration than your vibration of what you do want. Well, that right there explains to all of you the reason that it's nobody else's fault, anything that happens to you. And while we acknowledge it sure feels better to blame somebody else than it does to accept your own stupidity. Well, we got just a little carried away there. Than it does to accept your own guilt. In every case, whatever is coming to you is a vibrational indicator of what you've got going on vibrationally. And so if we were standing in your physical shoes and something happened in our experience and we did not like it, we would bring ourselves into an awareness of what we prefer, and we would practice the preference so often and so vividly that there could never again be confusion on the part of the universal manager who arranges all campsites for all campers. Talk about a really effective concierge in the sky. There is never, ever an injustice that is done, ever, 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 ever. But there are plenty of times that you get something different than what you want. But when you get something different from what you want, it's not because an injustice has occurred. It's because you've got a different dominant vibration than your own desire. Don't you love knowing that? Not so much. So what it means is, it's important for you to relax in whatever's happening. And accept, that's the most important thing, accept that whatever's happening, whatever it is, whatever is manifesting is an indication of what? An indication of your vibrational balance, an indication of your vibrational balance, an indication of your vibrational balance. So not only do you have the benefit of emotions that let you know how you're doing pre-manifestationally, but you have stuff showing up that is your indicator of your vibrational mix post-manifestationally. So, the fair warning that we are giving you is that in all that you are living, you've launched these rockets of desire and you've put them into your vortex of creation. And they are being tended by the larger part of you. They stand as present tense. And this is the thing that we really want you to hear. What you have launched forward, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, even though you're speaking of what you don't want, the equal and opposite desire goes forward. And the source within you rides that rocket of desire and holds that spot. That's what the evolution of all species is about. That's why life gets better and better and better for all beings, for all consciousness at all times. And so, as we are visiting with you, even though you may have something going on, and clearly you do, there are all kinds of vivid things that are happening in your experience, and much of them you like, and much of them you don't want. We want to talk about how to work the glitches out of your vibration, how to bring yourself consciously into alignment with what you really want and who you really are. Because there is the way you gain control of your experience. You have to give up your effort at controlling the uncontrollable. You cannot receive from anyone, even very well-meaning people, something that defies the vibration that you got going on. You got one choice and one choice only, and that is to line up with what you want by giving more attention to it than the opposite. So, I want you to understand that if you are somewhere on this emotional scale where fear and anger and depression are on the far removed end of resistance, and love and appreciation and friskiness are on the other end, where depression and fear indicate your feeling of powerlessness, and joy and love and appreciation indicate your feeling of empowerment, on this emotional scale with all of the emotions in between, the doorway to this vibrational vortex that we are talking about is somewhere between hope and belief. So if you're in the range there, then it's easy to call you in.